and welcome back to Desert Climber, where this week we have the winning and losing update. Today we'll be showing off new gameplay features and explaining how everything works. So immediately in here you're going to see a few new things. These are the cubes of destruction. For this purposes, they're going to act as our enemies, because if one of them hits us, then it's going to destroy one of our cubes. And as we need these cubes to get up to the top there, that's very bad, and we do not want that. But luckily I have the flying magic carpet here, so for right now, we don't really need the cubes, so I can show off what happens whenever we hit them. It just gets out of the way. We can see that our big cube up here is now destroyed. And so normally we wouldn't be able to reach the top. We can also see that our goal has updated slightly. We are now trying to reach the Gilded Orb. And so yes, now we can win. So let's get up here. But I feel like our flying carpet is getting a bit in the way. So I'm going to hit Q, and now it cannot move. Yes, it is screaming in agony, but don't worry, its anguish is purely simulated. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But if we climb up to the top here, we can see that the cube, or not the cube, the Gilded Orb is here. And if we walk in, see, very quickly among the sidebar there, among all the screams, it says victory, as we can now win. And say I wanted to just add in a little bit of chaos and I was missing our old cube friend there. Let's just say I hold E. And it's raining cubes. Hallelujah. Is yep, everything's sort of just cubes now. And if we want to, for some reason, kill our friend, the flying magic carpet, we can just hit R. And it explodes. Great. Now that may all seem a bit random, but we're just gonna get out of play mode here and ignore all these error messages. Yes, I do know what they are trying to tell me. No, I have not figured out a way to fix it. So for right now, those errors are just gonna sit there. So now that we are back in the editor, let's take a look at everything new behind the scenes. Firstly, let's once again look at our friend, the flying magic carpet, as it has a few new variables. We remember our speed was here last time, but now there's also can move and is dangerous. There's also can spawn, but for right now that doesn't do anything. That's still in the works, so we only care about these two, can move and is dangerous. Variables allow data to be stored within the game as a value, and there are a few different types that it can hold. Integers like speed can hold whole numbers, and things like can move and is dangerous are booleans, which just hold true or false values. There's also things like floats, strings, and doubles, but for right now, these are the only variables we need. Now, let's take a closer look back into the chaser script, which you'll remember allows our flying magic carpet to follow us. We see that there's plenty of new things. Now, it may seem a bit messy, and that's because it is. Also, for right now, we're going to ignore our principle of encapsulation because there may or may not be a few things in here that shouldn't be encapsulated in here, but that's fine for right now. For right now, that's fine. I want to first point out this section in the chaser code, which makes it actually follow the player. This is all here last week. We see here that this is being calculated in delta seconds. all these numbers converted to delta seconds with our speed. So what does that mean? Well, normally when the game is trying to do something, it does it at the speed relative to your game. This is all well and good most of the time, but this is based on your device, so that can cause a few issues. If you are running on a very slow or very fast computer, then the frame rate you play on will literally change the speed of the game's physics. This is very bad for things like online play, where multiple devices are playing one game together, speed runs, where your speed is literally affected by your device's capabilities, and just general gameplay performance, where nobody wants an unfair experience compared to others. So, how do we fix this? Well, that's where delta seconds comes in. It makes it so that rather than having actions occur per frame, they occur per second. This makes them universal, so no matter what your frame rate is, the gameplay plays the same. It'd be very hard for us to tell in this scene, for example, but there is a few differences that it's causing. If you see here, so the speed of the carpet is in delta seconds, so it's universal. But if I were to have a lag spike or something, it would be unaffected. But things like the game's gravity, my jumping and falling back down, that would be affected by that lag spike. But the carpet's movement would not. Next, let's look at the various collision events on display here. Once again, going back into our chaser script, the game can tell when two objects collide, and which is considered a hit, and when they physically overlap each other, which is an overlap. To show hitting, we can look at our cubes of destruction as well as the flying carpet. When a hit occurs, event hit here, it first checks if that object that's being hit is dangerous. That's what this is dangerous variable is doing here. For the things that it's true, it produces different events. So for our carpet, which is not dangerous, it simply prints the string chill hit, acknowledging that, yeah, the carpet is getting hit, but it's being cool about it. It's fine with that. But for these cubes of destruction, on the other hand, when we hit them, they destroy themselves. Very dramatic of them, I must say. And uh, this event here makes it so that when a chaser is destroyed, uh, they first create a quick explosion, and then they destroy a cube. We see this destruction class here for creating the explosion and then searching for the cube and destroying that. Now, quickly looking at our gilded orb up there, we have this sphere blueprint, which is very simple. When it detects an overlap, it's just a trigger collision, so you can walk right through it and overlap with it. And when it detects that, it simply prints the string victory, letting you know that you win. And that's how we're able to do that now. Now, let's look at input keys. Because outside of the normal WASD that comes with our character controller, we have a few new actions that the player can take. Firstly, hitting Q causes, Q causes our can move to switch to whatever it is on, to on or off. Since this is a key event, it only looks for when the key is initially hit or pressed and when it is released. So it only one action occurs. Similar but different is this up here is input key down, checking for the E key. Is input key down checks for a key being down, and as long as it is, it outputs a variable if true. So it acts much in the same way a Boolean does. And you can hold that key to make the event keep happening. This is why when I go into the game, if I press Q, then I only need to do that once, and I can switch it on or off. But if I were to hold down E, it's going to just keep spawning those cubes and causing chaos, generally. Once again, those errors aren't important. So, finally, let's look at the spawning and destroying of our actors here. Once again, found within the chaser script, you can see that when a hit occurs on one of these cubes of destruction, or any dangerous chaser, really, it destroys itself. You can also just destroy all chasers by holding R, which is what this is doing over here. Another is input key down, checking for R, and that just goes through and destroys every single chaser at once. Then pressing E is spawning actors. It is grabbing this class of the cubes, the master cubes, and spawning them at the location of all of our chasers. So it's spawning a whole bunch of cubes at once. So that is everything for this week in Desert Climber. Hopefully by next time I'll have the systems that I'm working on complete and no longer in progress, along with anything else that I need to get done for them. Well, yeah.